Recording in progress. Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Anvil. Today, I am joined with Shawn Shropshire. Did I say it right?
Close, not quite. Shropshire.
Okay. Shropshire. Shropshire. Well, it throws me off as where the R is. It should be where the O is in my brain. So it
I've
should.
been called a lot worse than that, so don't worry about it.
Considering your career you were just retired from, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So hey, right before we get started, we're doing a little things a little different. And well, we got to pay the bills. The shop pays there for everything, so we got to get money in, right? So let's do this. Behind the Anvil is brought to you by Mike's Damascus Knives. From handmade full tang knives, working knives, for fiction folders, pocket knives, each blade, and even EDCs, created one at a time at the anvil. Want to make one yours? Simple. Go to mikesdamascusknives.com. And I butchered this. So anyway, check us out on mikesdamascusknives.com or Facebook at Mike Damascus LLC, Mike D Knives on Instagram, or follow links where you're listening. Enough of that. Hey, Shawn, I promoted me a little bit. Let's promote you and SDS Knife Works or however I am. Okay.
So I have SDS Knife Works LLC as my main company, and then I also have off of that I make knives that have a different label, just has my name on it. SDS Knife Works knives are my what I call my blue collar knives. That's the stuff that I can afford to buy. It's the everyday user stuff. Typically, it's a belt finish. You know, more affordable line. If it has my full name on it, that's the higher end stuff that's typically hand finished out, or the nicer Damascus, more exhibit pieces. And I do everything from I'm doing folders now, EDCs, chef's knives, but the thing I really enjoy doing are the frontier style. It's actually more of a fantasy style. It's not what you would have actually found historically, but it's what Hollywood has given us the image of mountain men carrying in the 1800s.
That some of it might be close, but hey, you know what? Let's not kill. Oh God, here we go. Tongue tied as usual. I sit here and practice while I'm waiting through my head, try to get it up. And then the ADHD kicked in, and I pulls the carpet out from underneath me, or the floor, whatever you want to talk about. But first, drop your all your social, your website, where can people find you, and everything else, real quick.
If you search for Shawn Shropshire or SDS Knife Works, you'll find me on all the socials. My website is sdsknifeworks.com. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me there, and that has links to all of my social media sites.
Awesome. Don't forget to check him out. And again, remember, mikesmasternifes.com. Enough of self-promoting. Let's dive into it. And Sean, let's how about an update for the years of the show so far? So far, you've done Oklahoma Knife Group show in Oklahoma, and then we went to Bladefield,
Blade Show, Texas.
Blade Show, Texas.
So last year I actually did nine shows on three different continents, and this year I've pulled back a little bit. I've only got five scheduled currently. The first one was the Oklahoma Knife Group show in Oklahoma City. Uh, that's the largest custom only knife show in North America. Uh, it's custom knives only, no factory knives. We really push the custom side of everything, the craftsmen, the people that build the knives, and we try to get away from the factory side of things. Um, Over the last several years, I've heard a lot of people complain about how the bigger shows are turning into more of a bazaar with a little bit of everything and getting away from the knife makers. And so in Oklahoma, we've really pulled back and we're trying to push the craft side of what we do. Uh, this year, we had a 2 day show. It was the first time we've ever done a 2 day show. Uh, we we had a good show, but not as good as I was hoping. And so we're going to change some things up for next year. Next year, we're moving into a separate building at the same location, and that will be the biggest building we've ever been in. It's one hall. I believe it's about 27,000 square feet. Uh, yeah,
A lot of
it's going to
that's a
be.
lot of table, lad.
That's a lot of tables. We're actually increasing the tables only slightly over this year, but we're giving people a little more room to move around. Everything will be in one main hall. Throughout the show, we're going to have places for people to stop, sit down, take a break, so you're not on your feet the entire time. We're trying to think of the exhibitors, but also the attendees. If it's not a fun show or you get uncomfortable, you're hot, you're tired, it's no fun. And I think too often in the knife world, from the makers and the attendees at these shows, we forget that this is all supposed to be fun.
Mm,
Uh,
definitely.
Obviously, we want to make some money at it so we can keep doing it. But if it's not fun, then what's the point? You know. Uh, so we're trying to bring that back into it, and like I said, just celebrate the people that are actually making the things and keep everything knife related.
So you're
So we had
saying,
that.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, no, go
You're
ahead.
saying no tornadoes run you guys out this
Well,
time?
not this time. So 2 years ago, we had to close down early because of tornadoes. Last year,
That
when
was
we
fun.
closed
I'm
up,
not gonna lie, it was fun. I sat in the hotel, sitting there drinking a nice cool adult beverage, and deciding, do I get dressed? And I'm thinking, you know what? They can just find me in my birthday suit, hanging out a tree somewhere. Why not? I'm in my room, nobody can see.
I did find out that humor is subjective. Towards the end of that show, someone came up to me and said, "What do we do if a tornado hits this building?" I said, "You mean the metal building where there's over 100 custom knife makers and several thousand knives?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "You don't have to do anything." "Well, why not?" I said, "It'll be over so fast you won't have anything to worry about."
Oh God,
Well,
that'd be a
apparently
blending.
apparently my humor was not appreciated, so it didn't go over very well.
No.
But it's part of living in Oklahoma. You just get used to the tornadoes, and so we had that 2 years ago. Last year, at the end of the show, we had a snowstorm move in, and we were loading
Rude.
out in heavy snow. Uh, three
Rude. These
years
guys
ago, I
stole
think
all
we had
my
rain.
snow.
Right. And so we had people message us and ask us, what do we get this year?
Ooh, we're
And it's
zooming
like,
in.
well, we didn't have, wow, it's doing it on its own.
Hey, that's
Uh,
awesome. We want to see that gorgeous face and that wonderful beard. And if you notice, I trimmed up a little bit. I decided, you know
oh, yeah.
what? It's time for a change instead of being the old biker looking nasty Grizzly
Mine
Adams
gets longer
looking.
around Christmas, but
Yeah. Well,
uh,
that's what, you're like Tim Allen. As soon as it gets in, a little more weight, the
oh,
trim
yeah.
drag gets longer. Voila.
Yep. So this year, I got a message the week before. So what do we expect this year? And it turned out that the weekend of the show was great, but the week leading up to it, we actually had in Oklahoma, they call them fire nados. Uh, we had wildfires and wind events that caused, imagine a dust devil or dirt devil, but made of fire
I've
going
seen
up.
the videos.
Yes.
That was
And
something.
I sent the pictures of that to some people and got some interesting responses that I won't repeat here, but it was interesting. But this year we had a great show. The weekend, the weather was great. Um, it's one of those things. It's Oklahoma. It's, you know, end of winter, not quite spring yet. You just never know what you're going to get. But we should have a good turnout, good building, good location. We're changing up some things to make the show better. We got this. And then after that show, just a few weeks after that, we had Texas Blade Show in Fort Worth, Texas, and had a really, really good first day. No sales on the second day, so I got to visit with quite a few people. Shows are just one of those hit and miss things. You never know. Uh, you may go to a show and sell out, and the next show you may not sell anything. But someone told me one time they call them a show; they don't call them a sale. So
Yes,
you,
I
you
remember you telling me about it a couple of years ago. So
yep,
good
you go
advice.
there to,
Great advice.
you know, it's just like anything else where you're talking about a craft, and we're the people that do this are artisans. They're artists. They have a creative mind, and when you go to a show, I don't just go there to sell things. It's not purely a business for me. I go there to talk to other makers, to look at the latest supplies and materials, and to get inspired by what other people are making. I'm not going to steal ideas outright, but if I see something that looks really cool, I'll try to incorporate some of that into my work. And
That's something. And speaking of that, that's something I did with made a build I did couple months, been a couple years ago. Something I seen you had down in Belleville, Texas, at the Texas Select Show. It had a incorporated integral guard that was kind of stretched out. I did reach out and say, "Hey, this is what I'd like to send you the picture. I'm going to try to copy your guard," and you said, "Go for it." So I hope I did it justice. The customer liked it.
good.
Um, was trying to go for more a Tonto point. There was a flaw and I had to grind back out of it a little bit. Customer's like, "Oh, that's all right." He still liked the blade, so it turned out
Good.
still turned out good. But like I said, I don't try to copy something unless it's something that's challenging. For me, I'll reach out to the maker. "Hey, do you mind? I'll give you credit for the inspiration, like I did as well." So I think if you do it in that avenue, I think it's going to be a lot better for both people because
Yes.
not only you promote yourself, but you're also saying, "Hey, this is who I got the inspiration from, but I changed it up, put my little twist to it." And I think
Well,
that
it's just
helps
a
out.
show of respect for the other person. And
Yes.
for me personally, I know there's some guys that have some proprietary designs or features. I get that. For me personally, there's nothing I'm going to do in my shop that I'm not willing to share with people. And I can show you exactly how I do everything. And when you go back to your shop and you do it, it's not going to look like mine. Uh, I was pretty highly influenced by John Cohey, that style that he does. Uh, but if you look at my work next to John's, there's obvious differences. And when someone is taught by a specific maker, you'll see a lot of influence, but you can also see that person's individual personality coming out in that work, especially the longer they're doing it.
Yes. Myself too. Learned under dad. My stuff looks a lot similar to dad's back in the day. I've got my own kind of twist to it. Even dad said it, has pointed it out. He says, "You got your own twist to the things, so you can see a little bit here and there, but especially the plunge line. I do a 40 kind of 45. Dad's almost, I swear, there's blades at dad's. I swear they're the plunge lines like this,
Yeah.
um, and that came up with a simple mistake, a flaw he was trying to grind out of the blade. And when he stepped back, and looked at it, it's like, "Oh, that's cool." So he started doing that, and he's been doing that since probably about 97, 98, right in there back in the day.
Okay.
So that's been a minute. But Sean, how was Blade Show? Anything stand out? Any funny show story?
For me,
Was
mostly it was just getting to visit with people. A few of the international makers did come over, but because of recent politics, tariffs, taxes, and things like that, they ended up not exhibiting just because the expense was exorbitant. It's too much.
as usual,
So,
government gets right in the way.
well, it's that's just the way the world is. It's never going
I
to stay
know.
the
I,
same,
I just like this. I just like to
Yeah,
throw that out there. Maybe somebody will go berserk like they did on a clip that we just did. We do clips of this, and somebody commented on YouTube about how well, shout out to Chris Jones. He was talking about, I can't afford my own knives, and somebody went berserk on that. I'll send it over to you. It's quite
okay.
funny, but more or less, well, you need to make knives for $100 or less. And he's like,
You can't afford to do
"No,
that.
I'm not going to."
No,
But
that's giving away your time and materials. You know, the, not to go down a rabbit trail here.
let's
Yes,
go down that
materials are
rabbit hole, or we
well,
call it
materials are
squirrels.
yeah, materials are more expensive now. Inflation, uh, tariffs, 20 what is it? 25% tariff on imported steels now, I think is what's been added, something like that. Uh,
I can't. It's been a
25
while
or
since I
50.
bought steel,
Let's say
but
it's 50%.
there we go.
Uh, on a basic 4-inch bladed hunting knife, 1084 steel, you might have been looking at $10 or $12 worth of steel. Uh, if they increase that by 50%, now you're talking $18. You know, if that $6 prevents you from making a knife, then maybe this isn't the right hobby. Um, yes, things are more expensive. It costs more to go to the grocery store. It costs more to fill my truck up with gas. It's just there's nothing we can do to change that, and we can sit around and complain about it. We don't have to like it. I'm not saying that,
Mm.
but nobody's calling me saying, "Shawn, what should we do to fix this?" So me getting mad about it and getting an ulcer over it's not going to help. You
I couldn't agree more. I've had this conversation with other friends, and it's like, "What do you want me to do, dude? What do you want me to do? Other than maybe a global civil war to
Yeah.
overthrow things where
Well,
lots of people die. There,
politics is one of those things that if you and I agree on politics and we talk about it, we're going to get mad at other people together. If we disagree, we're going to get mad at each other. Either way, at the end of the conversation, we're both mad. So let's just talk about something else.
exactly. But I just throwing that out there. It's just, I totally agree with that and everything else. But anyway, moving forward, um, yeah, it's like you're saying, the things go up. I mean, it's just like this again. This person like probably doesn't understand the economics of being a knife maker. It's like Chris says, I got into knife making so I could have cheap knives, make my own knives. They'll be cheaper.
Right.
Yeah, we've all said that, haven't we? Come on.
Yeah.
And a few years later, and a few $1,000s in equipment, machine learning classes. Yeah, that's a really, really expensive, cheap knife that he made.
I
This
think it
person has
was
like,
Adam DeRozier from Alaska, ABS Mastersmith, incredible knife maker. I think that's who said this quote one time. Somebody asked him how much one of his knives was, and I don't recall the specific price, but let's just say $900. And the person that was looking at it said, "Well, why would I pay you $900? It didn't take you very long to make that." And and I'm paraphrasing here, but Adam's reply was, "You're not paying me for how long takes me to make the knife. You're paying me for how long it took me to learn how to make the knife." And I think all of us have been at a show or had people come and look at our knives and are shocked, sticker shock because they are expensive. But we're not creating a mass produced item. These are heirloom items. Uh, they're handmade, one of a kind. You're not going to go to a museum and pay poster prices for oil paintings. If you want the poster on the way out through the gift shop, pick up a poster. If you want the painting that's hanging in the exhibit hall, you have to pay the painting price. Well, we make paintings and Walmart sells posters. So if you're happy with the poster, man, by all means, just go grab one. There's nothing wrong with that. Not everybody needs what we make. Some people just want it. You
mm,
know, we don't need a lot of the things that we have. Uh, we just like to have them. We like nice clothes. We like a truck
yeah.
with air conditioning. I like your shirt, by the way.
Yeah, speaking of this, I found it. I found it like 5, 6 years ago. I'm like, I'm gonna buy that. I'm gonna buy that. Well, one day I was like, you know what? I've got extra money. Got on there. Oh, $100 to the door. Yes, this is my side. Da da da. Here we are. I am your captain. Been wearing this the last few days because of the Artemis program and the astronauts back and
Yep.
the slingshot around the moon. Of course, everyone, we didn't do that. That was on a soundstage.
Oh Lord. Yeah. Well.
Yeah, we won't get we don't have
Yeah.
tinfoil hats today, but anyway, back into it. Um, One thing, big shout out to our friend Emily Castingcraft.
Yes.
Um, her episode is still one of next to the very first episode is still the top downloaded one so far.
Cool.
So you got some
I
big
think
shoes there to beat.
she's in Oregon this weekend. I
Yep.
think at the knife show up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
So
I've
and then
seen
she's
that.
doing one in Toronto. Also, she's got a show coming up in Toronto,
Ooh, I'm gonna
and I think she's going to Austria this year also.
Us.
So
I know. I talked to her about get her back on here and do another episode update on everything that's going on. And yeah. Then I also found out that Charles of Atlas Knife and Tool, his wife is actually from Bulgaria. Bulgaria?
really, yeah,
I said it right. Wow. Let me go. I understand she's also from Bulgaria. She's a little bit older. I would like to get those two together, do a dual thing, and
that
listen.
would be cool.
I mean, just to hear more on that from two different perspectives
Yeah.
of growing up there. So anyway, back to you, Sean. Um, well, you showed me a picture the other day. You're working on folders. Myself, I started doing friction folders. I learned a while back, did it a little bit, didn't really like it, and it's like, you know what? It's time for something new, something a little different. And I like it. I hate it. I can't stand it, but I'm going to do some more of it. Yes, they're friction folders. I used to run a pin, but now I'm using a set screw so you can
Mhm.
adjust the tension on that. I am trying to work myself up to do a slip joint, and now a buddy of mine brought over a pattern to do a frame lock with the same pattern. And I was like, "You're trying to gut me." I'm like, I looked at him, it's like, you're trying to punish me, right? Because I'm eventually going to do this. I just got to get the gumption to do it. Tell us about your experience with folders so far.
I've Years ago I did a couple of slip joints, and I it was an exercise in absolute frustration for me, but I was trying to figure it out on my own. And so since then, I have jokingly said that people that make slip joints are witches. They're witches or warlocks because that's the only way to explain what they do. To do it properly, it's very difficult. Now, that said, I have not taken a class from somebody that does it. I've just been looking in on from the outside. But about 3 years ago now, I believe it was, uh, through my Wandering Bladesmith travels, I put out a message on social media because I found cheap tickets to Madrid, Spain, and said, "Who do I know in Madrid?" My buddy in just north of Rome messaged me and said, "Hey, come here instead." He said, "I'll teach you to make folders."
Yes, let's
And
dive
it's
into
like,
this. Let's go into this
yeah,
part of the episode, the Wandering Bladesmith. We talked about it last time. Let's get into
yes.
some more stories about drinking champagne and listening to country music.
So Carlo, invited me and Deke Parker to his shop. We went there and spent a week with him learning how to do it. And Carlo Cavadon of Cavadon Arts is who took us in and showed us all this. And his philosophy behind making liner locks is to make them simple. And I keep reminding him that yes, your method is simple, but that doesn't make it easy. So, but once you understand the process and break it down, then you can start making them. For me, the difficulty in going from forging out, these massive mountain man style Bowie knives with, really rugged handles, like I said, the bear jaw and teeth and all this stuff, uh, going from that to sitting down at a bench with a pair of tweezers and 1 millimeter ceramic ball bearings and all these tiny, tiny little parts. It's just, it's such a juxtaposition between, swinging a hammer and beating steel into submission. And then I have to clean everything away and go to,
Mm.
my fingers don't work that way. And the guys that do folders
Well, we do have
regularly,
meaty hands, so
we do, yeah, hams. And but the guys that do this regularly think in a different way than I do normally. They think in thousandths or 10 thousandths of an inch, and I'm more of what I call a Kentucky windage kind of guy. It's just kind of, yeah, eyeball it. That looks close enough. You can't do that with the
yeah,
folders.
I've learned that, and then trying to buy parts. It's like, why is that point something something? Can't we just put it in inches? Come on, people. I don't know how to do that. I had to use
Yeah,
Google
I will say so. Being in Italy, learning from Carlo, everything's in metric. And then coming back to my own shop, I had to either convert everything from metric into standard, or, and this is what I chose to do, retool everything in metric. And so I bought metric drill bits, metric, all of the parts I needed are metric. For the folders, for me, it made it so much simpler to go, 1.4, 1.5, 1.7, 2 versus 1/16, 1/32, 3/32, and try to do the fractions or decimal. The metric system just makes it much simpler for me. And so I do the folders, and like we talked about being influenced by other people. Obviously, I'm influenced by Carlo because that's who I learned from, but I've also been making knives long enough that now I'm trying to build these folders with my personality. Uh, if you look at a knife from Europe, it has a different overall feel to it than a knife from Texas or a knife from Colorado. They look different, they feel different, they function different. They're in a different environment. And so to take his designs and his lessons and convert that to my style has been what I've been working on. And I'm getting there. Uh, it's not as simple as you would think to change things up, but I'm
That's
learning.
correct. That is definitely. going from forging the blade out to drawing the steel out, getting the steel just right. From I make my own Damascus, so I'm using my own Damascus. I wish I had a rolling mill. One of these days, when I get rich and famous like you, Shawn, I'll definitely get me a rolling mill. Um, but going down, cutting them all out. I'm like, I used to talk trash about stock removal. Now I'm doing it a little bit here and there. So, but it's come full circle. So, um,
Well, the stock removal argument, I that's among knife makers. We'll rib each other about it, but I've had people apologize to me for, I'm sorry, it's only stock removal. Only hell, you know, you busted your butt on something and you made it. Uh, every guy that forges a blade hits the grinder before he's finished. So that's stock removal. You just started a different step in the process.
now we'll just call it buffing it out.
Yeah. So it's
Um,
it's yeah, that's an argument that I don't buy into. If you made
I
that
think
knife,
it's
I'm cool with
mainly
it.
something that we do to ourselves just to bust each
Yeah.
other's chops mainly. I like to. That's what mainly I started out of. A lot of big name knife makers, Buster Jim Mance, Draper. And then we're talking old school guys too that got it back in the 60s and 70s and 80s where it built it up to where it is today. Um, have started out with stock removal and such like
Oh yeah.
that. So I don't know if I asked you this or not. I know we touched about being in Italy and drinking champagne, listening to country
Yes.
music. Was he listening to George Strait?
I remember a lot of Toby Keith. I'm
Okay.
sure there was some George Strait in there too.
Oh, we're going to bring up Toby Keith's Foundation later. Don't let me forget about
Yep.
that.
Okay.
Um, but all right. You're also known as the guy who'll eat pretty much any kind of weird food, and I'm bad at it. I'll text you something really strange. Oh, got to tag Shawn in this. Did you eat anything strange? What is strange food in
Oh,
Italy?
I don't recall anything too bizarre. Uh, we obviously have our regional preferences. Rome is known for the carbonara, and Carlo is an amazing chef. Uh, at one point, I think it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I think there were four of us in the shop working, and I don't remember how to say it in Italian, but basically it's garlic and pepper pasta. And they said, "Have you ever had this?" And I said, "No." And they said, "Oh, it's what you have when you come in after a night, out clubbing or drinking or enjoying company. You come in and you fix this. And have you ever had it?" I said, "Well, no." "Oh, well, come on." And so at 2 o'clock in the morning, we go raid his kitchen, and it was olive oil simmered with garlic and red pepper flakes, and then pasta, and not your standard elbow macaroni. This was like legit pasta.
Hey, we're in Italy,
And
huh?
oh yes, yeah, and mix the pasta with a little bit of the olive oil, some breadcrumbs, and that's it. Very simple, but amazing. Uh, and so ever since then, I've jokingly called that drunk pasta.
I
Uh,
like it. I want
yeah,
some. Come on, Sean, let's get on the plane and go. We'll use your
I
credit card.
I'm booked up next month, but after that, yes. So yeah, I've got two out of country shows booked up for this year. I'd like to make it back to Italy this year, but probably won't be able to next year for sure. So
Where are you going? I'm assuming France is one of the shows.
actually, no. The show in Thiers was amazing, but I'm going to try to do it in 27. The Cotelia. Then my next show is the end of May in Perth, Scotland. Uh,
Ooh.
yes, it's the first custom knife show in Scotland, and it'll be I think it's about 40 or 45 miles north of Edinburgh in a town called Perth. And it's a 1 day show. I'm going to fly in, uh, do the show, and then I'm going to go spend a week with a couple of makers from Scotland. And I'm really looking forward to that.
My goal is to get enough money built up. So I'm going to follow you around. We're going to film this for American Bladefish channel. And it'd be just fun. I'd love to just sit behind the camera, but also learn well, but I can learn a lot by just watching too. But that would be fun to come over there with you on a trip somewhere one of these days. So
My
that's my
my
goal.
original Yeah, my original idea behind all this was to film all of these trips and put it on some type of a YouTube or a video for people to watch. What I realized was I really suck at that. Um,
Don't worry, I
I
got you covered, big guy.
I love to do the things, but I don't have the foresight to do the videos and then edit the videos and then put them together. And
I have
there's
a buddy
also
for that. He's really good. We call him
well, it's
Brad. Safety
okay.
glasses, Brad.
It's a very different skill set, and to to do it right, it's not something that I can do. I don't have the right skills for that.
Well,
Um,
I don't know if you caught the three episodes of Beat the Smith we did, and it's very, very rough, very, very crude. But you know what? We're proud of that. You know, it might look like crap, but boy, we're proud of that. Brad was had a back injury, was laid up, so he needed something to do. So he sat there with a computer, and he did pretty good for what horrible footage we did. And then he came down and was able to come down and video me and Daisy going head to head on Beat the Smith on the final third episode and final of Beat the Smith. So if you ever get bored, go check that out. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of video and audio because the audio just had this annoying. But good thing he had his camera going through a lot through her and my forging part. But check that out when you get a second. That's on the
Absolutely.
YouTube channel.
Yeah.
That is cool. Like I said, that is on my goal wheel. It is on my goal wheel to follow Shawn around, videotape it. Would like to learn a little bit, but you know what? If I could go there and do that, that would be fun. I found myself getting more. I'm liking doing this. If I could do a little bit more of this and pay the bills with doing the podcast and doing a little of that, I really would because I've been doing knives for 30 years. It's weird to say. I'm only 40, going on 41. It's like, how can you say you've done it for 30 years? You're on 40. Oh, I started when I was like 10. So
Yeah. Time goes by fast.
I know. There's so much more I want to learn and do and get up to Sean's level here of some of your stuff. And right now, I can't really do that because I got to pay the bills and I got to do what makes the bills. And it's kind of killing my artistic, I guess. I'm getting worried about my level of making. I'm hoping I'm meeting what the customers want. I'm looking at myself. It looks good, but you know as I do, when you look at your own stuff and you feel like you've done a lot, and you're looking at it like, man, I could have done better.
Yeah, I think there's a point where the more you know, the more you realize how much more there is to learn, and how much better we can be. And if I've joked and said that if I ever made the perfect knife, I'm going to have to quit. Uh,
Mm,
there's no such thing. You know,
true.
if you ask any maker, show me the flaw in this knife, they're going to point out things that you and I would never see in their work. But they made it and they know where they wanted to do better. So I
Exactly.
think that's a very normal thing. And it's also very normal to, you talked about that artistic inclination, the desire to create. Um, Eileen Samansky down in Texas said something to me one time. We were talking along these lines, and she said, "God is a creator, and we were made in His image." Not to get
Amen.
all religious, but there's something in us that wants to make things. For us, it's knives or working with steel. For someone else, it may be cooking or painting, crocheting, um, even stuff like landscaping. You know, we all
Painting.
we look for that creative outlet.
One could say it literally was designed in our DNA.
Yes. Yep.
And I totally 100% that. I wouldn't say religious. I'm going to say a faith because that's what it is. It's really based on faith.
Yep.
However you want to believe that's, hey, I'm a libertarian. That's the way I look at it. Leave me, small government, leave me alone. Let me do
Yep.
it. Keep your beliefs to yourself. If you want to talk about Jesus, let's sit down and have a beer and talk about Jesus. So,
Well, it's so easy talking about the business aspect of it for just a moment to get wrapped up in the okay, did I make enough money this month to pay for the materials that I used, to pay the utility bills, to pay, to purchase more materials, the consumables, the sanding belts, the sandpaper, the epoxy, the rubber gloves. People don't realize all of these little things add up. epoxy, I used to pay, I want to say it was $65 for a quart of the J-Flex. And I think the last time I bought it, it was a little over $100 for the same
Yeah,
bottles.
I've noticed that. I usually get no, you can get it from Gents. Shout out the Gents. I'm probably saying their name wrong. Nice Supply. Check those out. And
Awesome, folks.
what's their website? Nicesupply.com.
Uh, that sounds right. If you just search for Jant's Knife Supply, Davis, Oklahoma.
There we
Uh,
go. And if I murdered what your website, folks, I apologize. Please forgive me. They're awesome. Um, like the epoxy they carry, and I can't the Dextron.
I
Yeah,
know
it
which one
starts
you're
with a
talking
D.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway, you
Dex.
used to be
Yeah,
able to get that like 6, 7, $8. Couple, 5, 3, 4 years ago. It's now $20. I'm like, good Lord. But
everything's gone up, but when you get wrapped up in that side of it, it's no longer a hobby, and there's a point where you have to sell enough to justify buying more materials, supplies. Um, but it's really easy to forget the creative aspect, the fun aspect of this. Fun is a word that I think gets underused in this field. Uh, we get really frustrated. The folders, it's so easy to get frustrated over those because you go to fix one thing and you mess three other things up on the knife. And then you start chasing it. And yesterday I threw away two folders that I was so tired of chasing flaws. It's like, okay, I'm cutting my losses. I pulled all the materials off of it that I could salvage for other projects and threw the rest away. Uh, there's a point where, you know, you're just spending too much time chasing flaws. Uh, Sometimes you just have to stop and do something that's fun. And for a while, years ago, I got to a point where I was filling so many orders and just trying to keep up with everything. And I remember standing on the back porch holding a cup of coffee, looking at my shop, which I have the I'm blessed that it's in my backyard. But I'm looking at my shop, and
yeah,
all I could think was, man, I don't want to go out there. I just don't want to do this anymore. This is not fun. I'm not enjoying this. But I'm committed to filling these orders, and I have to. And so I finally came to a point where I said, okay, Monday through Thursday is work. I'm filling orders. I'm doing what I have to do. Friday is my day. If I want to make Damascus, if I want to make a spoon, if I want to go shoot archery, whatever I want to do on Friday is for me, my mental health day, if you will. Time to slow down and do the things that were fun again. Make just a dumb knife that makes no sense, but because I want to do it. Uh, and by doing that, it brought some of the fun back into it, and I was able to finally catch back up. Uh, but if we're not having fun at this, why are we doing it?
agreed. And I'm kind of experiencing kind of the opposite right now. Right now it's like I'm kind of doing a gandy dance for every little sale right now. And I understand things are getting a little bit more expensive. What I produce is kind of a luxury item. Working on looking to find from another form of employment. Kind of actually looking forward to it and maybe pushing the knife back to just being the side hobby instead of the main hustle because, like you said, you're sitting on the porch looking at it like, "Oh, I just don't want to go out there." Same thing here, but I need to go out there because I can't, lights don't come on if I'm not out there. Um,
Right.
I like that. Hello. um, and I guess you could say I'm getting maker burnout that, and after we won't say the name of the company, and I'm sure you've seen it, went out of business here recently, and seeing all the aftermath of that, and seeing how the customer world side of it is very brutal, and also our other makers calling stuff out. I'm like, it made me pause and think. It's like that's what I talk about. My work. Am I hustling and bustling to pay the bills? And I think it's starting to affect my, at least maybe it's subconscious or just overthinking it. Is my work really reflecting itself? Am I putting what it really needs to be in? trying to do in the hustle. So now I'm doing some stuff that to be a little more um, pocket friendly that I can do, like recycled spring steel. I'll use that. I'm having fun with the blacksmith knife. That is my therapy. Like your Friday is your therapy, your
Yeah.
day. That's kind of my thing there. I figured out a couple of ways to help me do it a little bit faster. And if I can remember when I'm doing it, it goes a lot quicker. And then after I was like, wow, that went a lot faster than forging each one out individual every time. I got me a little process. I'll do a dozen, forge the blades out, start the tang, set it offside, go do boom, boom, boom. Then come back the next day or whatever and do all the tangs and the rat tail handle and everything else. But for me, my burnout is the hustle is it's becoming a hustle, not
Yeah.
the
Not a
art.
passion.
Yes.
It's
And
losing the passion and becoming a business.
yes, exactly. Thank you. And I do this, and I'm out in the shop thinking about ideas for the show, ideas for little the shorts have been pretty good. I use a AI system to cut the clips out and everything else because I have no patience to sit here that long to cut clip. Oh, this is a good idea. Cut here, cut here. Oh, I didn't get it. I'd probably throw the computer. But thanks God, AI, like I talked with Chris Jones, we talked a little bit about AI. AI for me is a great tool because my spelling and grammar sucks. If you've seen my original post, 3, 4 years ago, or even 10 years ago, I type it out. You'd see a big difference. I use it to write stuff. I use it to come up with business plan ideas and such. Or I have a story, I put it in it, and it fixes it out and fixes it out, and throws it out, so I can copy and paste, throw it on my timeline of different things I've talked about. But for me, that's a great tool, and thank God for that because if it wasn't for the AI to cut clips, I wouldn't have clips, and they seem to be doing really good. I am finding myself more attracted to doing the podcast here behind the anvil. Um, and everyone's like, well, "What's it about?" I says, "Well, we talk about knives, like we're talking here. You know, I want to talk about, hey, we talked just about the space program with another friend. I got a friend who works for NASA. I'm trying to get. I think he's working on clearance to make sure he can do the podcast because where he is
Oh yeah.
at in NASA. So, um, and I need to reach back out to him. I know they've been busy because the Artemis
A little bit.
program. They've been a little bit busy,
Yeah.
and so for me, I've got to find another job. I'm working on different things, and, and I'm finding that once you've been a self-employed, it's really hard to work to enter back in the workforce.
Yeah.
One, I probably, I'm very opinionated and I'm outspoken. That's probably bit me in the butt. I'm fine with that. But I think a lot of businesses out there when they're hiring employees are hesitant because, well, you're not, and I can see it from their point. Hey, he's got his own hustle. If he doesn't like this place, he's going to leave. So why should we invest? I get that.
Yeah.
So it's one of those
The
tribulations.
knife making or any self business that you run, people think that, oh, you own your own business, you must have it made. Well, man, I've never worked more hours than running my own business.
Or
And
slept less.
yeah, I really hate to call myself a businessman because I don't think that way. I'm a craftsman and I have to sell things so I can keep making more things. I just like to make things. I like to go see new places and meet new people. And this is an outlet for me to do that. I'm also in a position that I understand most people are not. So I'm retired and I have a pension coming in. Um, so if I miss a sale, the lights don't go off. Uh, I joke and I say this keeps me out of the bars. This is what I do uh, to occupy my time. And as long as I'm physically able to travel to do the work, this is what I'm going to do. Uh, I haven't been an instructor, taught classes or anything. One, I'm not sure I have the patience for it, but we're about to find out. Um,
Ooh, I'll come right out and I'll try your patience there, bud.
well, next weekend. So I'm also the president of the Oklahoma Knife Group. We've discussed that in the past, and we offer classes uh, to our members and also to non-members. Next weekend, I'll be hosting a class on hidden tang knives. Pretty much everyone, when they start out, is doing a full tang knife with slab handles. The most basic way that we've all made knives. I don't know anyone who didn't start out that way. Uh, but so many people stop there and they don't want to push themselves to do to fit a guard. It's it's
Not
more
easy.
complicated.
I found I
No,
I did find me a little trick on how to do stuff, and so far it's turning out real good. My customers hadn't killed me with my
good.
own knife, so but anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, that's cool. But so next weekend I'm having some guys out here. Uh, I got 5 guys coming out. We're gonna spend 8 hours, and during that 8 hours, we're gonna walk through the entire process of how to build a hidden tang knife. Um, so I'm gonna, like I said, test the waters on the teaching side of things, and we'll see how this goes. What we fail to realize, like you said, you've been doing this for 30 years. Uh, I've been doing this for quite a while. In my mind, I'm still a beginner. I mean,
God, do I ever feel that today?
yeah, I mean, we all do. I was at Texas Blade Show, and on one side of me, I had Lynn Ray. On the other side of me, I had Brian Tomberlin, both ABS mastersmiths. And I had other people, other makers that I've looked up to for decades coming to my table to visit with me. And in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to say starstruck, but man, I'm getting to talk to the guys that I want to be like. And they know my name. They know who I am now. So when somebody asks me, hey, how do I do this? My first reaction is, I'm not the person to ask. But if we stop and think about it, you and I both have more years doing this. We've messed up enough stuff that I can tell you what not to do. So Brian Tomberlin told me one time, he said, being a mastersmith doesn't mean I know how to do everything. It just means I know how to fix my mistakes better than most people.
Well, and we've talked about this. It's like what Dad said, Dad would say is my making is 90% fixing stuff or 90% screwing shit up, 10% trying to figure out how to,
Make it
fix
look,
it,
yeah.
hide it. Hey, I meant to do that kind of
Yeah,
story. So, oh, I added
yeah,
something extra in for you. This file work that,
we've all modified stuff and changed our ideas. And this part, what I'm going to say
very short
next,
of
may
night.
offend some people. Uh, One of the things that I hear is, especially for forging, this is not so much for stock removal. This is mainly a forging quote. I let the steel tell me what it wants to be. Leland Stone, great maker, great craftsman.
I need to get him
Uh,
on here.
oh, he said something in response to that that I thought was amazing. That's the best response I've ever heard. Somebody said, I let the steel tell me what it wants to be. Leland said, no, the steel wants to be rust. That's what the steel wants to be.
Hmm.
You tell the steel what you want it to be. Otherwise, you're just hitting it with a hammer until you decide it looks similar to something. You know, I'm the craftsman, I'm the creator. That doesn't mean I can't go out there and freeform something. I can do that, but I need to be able to make the steel become what I want it to be. Not go, okay, well that's good enough. Good enough's not.
Quick question to that.
Mhm.
And I've had this experience myself. I've gone out in those days. It's like, I'm just going to go out and forge some knives. And have you ever felt like you forged out a knife that somebody else, higher, a higher power, God, what, however you want the spirit, have you ever felt that when you're forging, as you're forging, that something is in there with you and kind of guiding you to shape a certain knife, even though you kind of might have had a kind of idea or just out there having that day, but just something just kind of comes over you and you're like,
I
yeah,
think
and you go, well, Warren, you feel that. Have you ever had that experience?
I think it's and I'm Christian, but I think that's sort of a Zen thing. You just get into a rhythm, and things just feel right. You turn on the forge, and for me, I put on my headphones, I turn on some music, and I start working. And there are days when I do that, and everything goes great. The steel moves like I want it to. Ideas come to me. It's awesome. Those are great days. More often than I have those days, I have the days where there isn't a single thing in the shop I touch that doesn't turn into a steaming pile of crap. I can't touch things without it breaking, losing things. That I have a maker's mark somewhere in my shop that I hit to mark a blade one time, shot across the shop. That's been 2 years ago. I still haven't found it. Uh, Things like that. And the thing I have learned on those days is stop, slow down, turn the lights off, and go do something else.
Get some water, coffee.
That Yeah,
If anybody's
whatever it is.
anybody was wondering what Shawn listens to when he's out there working, top of the list. I've heard from her, Undisclosed Sources is that song Barbie's World, whatever, that's one of his favorite songs. So
I
anyway,
think if you heard my playlist, people would be very, very shocked. There's a little bit of everything from old school rock and roll, jazz, big
it's
band
a
music.
Barbie world.
Yeah, hey, I don't judge anybody.
Hey, actually, I'm not gonna lie, I actually like that song, and I don't care what anybody says. So
But yeah, there's those days where you go out there and it's just not working. And I have fought through those days and finally came to the realization I can sit here and I can mess up a lot of stuff, or I can just stop. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to have accomplished any less than I would have if I stayed out here messing things up. It's just going to cost me less because I don't have to pay for all the materials I screwed up. And mentally, I'm in a better place if I just back away for a day. Uh, but the days when everything goes great, man, those are good days. You look up at the end of the day, you're hot, you're tired, you're dirty, and you look down, it's like, crap, I made a lot of stuff today.
yes,
I got work done. Uh,
my hands are still
and
dirty from the last couple of
I,
days.
all of us, yeah. Somebody, I don't remember where I was at a couple of days ago. They want to know what was all over my hand, and it was on the back of my hand. I had to turn it around. It's like, I have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
And we end up with cuts and burns and things like that that I don't know how I got them.
Mm. Or one time I was out there, mom's like, "What's this?" And it's right here, big all long thing of epoxy, and she grabs it. Oh,
Oh,
that was epoxy! Ripped all the hair out. That's been a while
I
back.
think mine was a leather stain or something on my arm, and I no idea when I got it on there, but uh, I can remember. And this is another rabbit trail story. I remember
Let's
my
go down that
grandfather.
squirrel hole.
Uh, he was a roofer for 50 years or something, and I can remember we'd be on the farm, and I'd look over and he'd be bleeding. He'd have a cut on his arm or his hand. I said, "You're bleeding," and he's, "I'll get to it in a minute." And I remember thinking that's the toughest old man I've ever met in my life. And now I'll look down. It's like, where the hell did all that blood come from? And I realize it's not so much tough. I just can't feel myself. I can't feel my skin anymore. I burned myself and cut myself enough times that we just don't feel it. Uh, but
Or you done
you're
something
doing,
stupid in the shop you weren't supposed to, and poke your hand, and I poked my hand. I had some glue on the back of the knife. Like, oh, it's still soft. I could scrape some of that off, and it
yeah,
slipped. And of course, this is the kind of subjects that gets HR involved, and you have the safety fit briefing. And of course, I'm HR, so you got to give yourself that. I need to do a video of that safety. Do a skit on that. But I had the blade facing my hand, and I just went and I went, boop. I'm like, oh crap! And well, I probably looking at the blade afterwards. It went in probably 3/8 of an inch, and I'll tell you
yep.
what, this finger was numb for a couple days because I nicked the nerve. I mean, it was
We've
not
all
all
done
numb,
it.
but it's just it came out around this way. It was all kind of weird feeling. And
Yeah.
well, my daughter's like, well, do you want to go back to, you go to get stitches on it? Yeah, super glue. I'm going to hold this close. You pour the super glue.
Yep. Don't use the accelerator.
Hey, it
If you use
would be
it,
a way to make sure
oh,
it's not.
it hurries things up, but the accelerator works by thermal heats up.
Kills
And
bacteria. And everybody's like, well, you got to
uh
go get a tetanus shot. It's like, no, I'm allergic to tetanus shots. I found out the hard way when I first got a tetanus
oh
shot.
geez.
This whole arm, it started out just big golf ball sized lump and got bigger, sweatier, and hotter. Doctor goes, well, you can't have those anymore. So who knows what kind of weird cancer? I'll probably die from it because of it. So
Well, the shop injuries are one of those things that I think we've all been there. You get lackadaisical. Uh, it's routine, and we forget that we're dealing with machines that can do a tremendous amount of damage in an extremely short amount of time. And I told my kids growing up, I said, when you get ready to do something, think 30 seconds into the future. 30 seconds from now, will that have been a good idea to do that? And if the answer is no, then don't do that. But how many times in the shop, oh, I'm just going to hit this on the grinder real quick. I don't need to grab my eye protection. I don't need to clamp this blade into the vise. I'm just going to drill a real quick hole. And then you end up doing a helicopter and cutting your hand 3 or 4 times on a spin.
Or not paying
Uh,
attention and stab yourself in front of a customer you're trying to teach how to use stone.
oh yeah, all of these
And
things,
her.
and and all of us are bad about. Oh, I don't need a first aid kit in the shop. Yeah, we do. Uh, Paper towels and electrical tape will only get you so far. Uh,
Tourniquets was not a bad idea.
yeah, throw a first aid kit, fire extinguisher, uh, a fire blanket, um, knowing how to more than one exit if things do catch on fire. Uh, I think we both know people who have burned their shops down, not intentionally, obviously, but things happen. We're dealing
Hey,
with,
I only burned a hole in the wall one time. Okay. I mean, years before, Dad about burned the shop down on his air filtration system too. So,
well, just for the record, reloading ammunition and having a grinder in the same location is not a good idea. That's a
Shawn,
story for another time.
how do you know this, Shawn?
Let's
Can you
just say
please? Well, you
I
don't
have
like.
firsthand experience, and it gets rather toasty.
I'll
Um,
bet. What kind of
but
powder?
it was exciting. We'll just leave it at that. But uh, no permanent damage to me or the house.
Just
So,
his beard he had to regrow in.
well, the flame was lower.
Oh,
Um,
oh, roasted sausage.
yes, yes.
Oh,
Uh, but anyway, things like that, But you look around, I go out to my shop and I look around. It's like all of this sawdust, all of this steel grindings, and we're over here grinding stuff. We have acetone, we have kerosene, we have oil, propane tanks. I don't know how we don't have more problems than we do.
one
But
thing.
at the end of the day,
One thing I'm going to add to that. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I
no,
got to
no,
get
no,
it.
good.
Make sure you have your floor, sweep your floor, especially before forging. And I'm sure you've seen the picture of it. And I got done cutting some steel and a nice little triangle piece of steel went right into the side of my foot. So basically, it went in right here, like say this side of your foot, went in and came right out the side there. Thank God, because if it would have went in, according to my buddy who's a doc, he says, "Yeah, there's an artery in the bottom of your foot right there. You could have probably got that and probably lost a foot by the time I got to the hospital." But
Yeah, well, and we all our shops get cluttered. How many times have we had stuff pile up that we're having to climb over the top of and step over all the time?
I plead the fifth.
Extension cords, yeah. But take an hour or so once a week and clean the shop. Blow the dust out, wear your respirator, keep a first aid kit, wear eye protection. All the boring things that nobody ever really wants to talk about because it's not exciting. But if you want to be doing this 20, 30, 40 years, go ahead and do those things.
Yes. Yeah, I'm starting to notice I need to start on. I've been wearing a respirator more, and I've got a dust collector that sucks out. It takes probably about 50 of it, maybe a little bit more
Yeah.
down and out. I've got an idea I want to put in, do a forced air over the top where
Mm-hmm.
I'm when I come in, I'm gonna pump it in part of my shop. Is more for finishing. I got my side. It's other benches and other work and such. So I'm gonna suck air in from that side of the shop with a filter. But maybe my idea is hoping to circulate the cool air from the air conditioner in the summer. Also, maybe keeping the dust away from that is more. Then I'll pump it over. I'll have a spot where it comes over the grinder, blows that, so the air helps push down, pushing it down. Again, this is my theory here. Anybody else got a better idea? Hey, drop us in the comment. Let us know. on each station and over my bench where I do my hand sanding. I have that right there. Put a little valve in there. I can shut it off to different spots in the ceiling and such. And I'm thinking of ideas how to help direct there and such. I've got parts and pieces, just haven't got that ambition to do that yet. So,
Yeah.
but
But you have
yes,
to stop making knives to do that stuff.
yes.
Yeah.
Um, but so there's something I've been wanting to ask you, and I'll get you on here. Wandering Bladesmith question here. Brazil.
Yes.
Let's dive in there. And I do believe you ate some bizarre stuff down there. I do believe. I remember some pictures. Or were you just showing off some really good stuff? So,
It was just awesome food, awesome people. Everything was amazing. So backing up a little bit, uh, we talked about the shows and meeting people at the shows and the networking where you get to meet all these makers. Well, last year I did the show in Thiers, France, and after the show I did a 12-hour road trip back to Rome with Carlo Cavadon and a maker from Brazil named Du Storaro. Uh, Du Storaro and Daniel Jobim won the Damascus World Championships in Thiers last year, and there were some other makers in the van, but all the way back to Rome, Du keeps trying to talk me into coming to Brazil, which has been one of my bucket list items for years. Unfortunately, airfare to Brazil has, over the last several years, been just more than I could justify.
west
And I
southern
kept,
or southern?
well, it's about the same distance south as Europe is east from where I'm at. And so I'm telling Du, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. He's like, no, you need to come. You need to come. I said, look, let me show you the prices. I grab my phone, I pull up the prices, and it's like, oh, well, give me just a moment to look at this a little closer. So I ended up going to Sao Paulo, Brazil, which is a city of about 20 million people, which is very difficult for my Oklahoma mind to even compute that number. The Oklahoma City metro area has 1 million, and they have over 20 million in one city in Brazil. So went to the show, absolutely amazing people, some of the friendliest people I've ever been around. Uh, for me, it was fantastic. I had a sellout just after lunch on day one. So I got to spend a day and a half just wandering around the show, uh, practicing Google Translate with Portuguese, and just had an absolute ball. Well, after the show, I flew down to Porto Alegre in the very southern part of Brazil, and uh, Daniel Jobim, Carlo Cavadon, Du Storaro, we all drove up to Nova Petrópolis. Nova Petrópolis, Brazil, is a small Dutch village in the in southern Brazil. It's like a rainforest, and the buildings look Dutch, German influenced, European influenced, and they have so many just absolutely amazing knife makers in this little town of Nova Petrópolis. Uh, we stayed at a house, and it was all guys staying at this house. We'd go to bed at night. We'd get up in the morning. They'd open the double doors in the living room, and they'd take the scrap food from the day before and sit it outside the door for the tegu lizards to come eat. And these things are up to like 4 feet long. They look like land alligators, little dinosaurs. Yes.
Question: did
Yeah.
you eat one?
I did not eat a tegu. The tegu eat the snakes, and they said they want the tegu there.
Ah,
So
you eat the snakes?
I did not eat the snakes.
Oh,
Um, the beef was, I couldn't pass up the beef. But
beef.
we're
It's
we're
what's for dinner and lunch and
oh my
breakfast.
gosh, the guys down there are just amazing cooks. But we would get up, we'd have breakfast and coffee. They'd start a folder class, and then we'd step out to the forge, and we would there would be somebody working on folders or running the forge or guys working on motorcycles from 7 or 8 in the morning until 2 or 3 in the morning. And they would one night, I think there were about 10 guys showed up about 10 o'clock at night. They fired up the grill, made dinner. We're eating and having a good time. They all leave. I'm thinking, okay, it's about time to head to bed. And then another group of 8 or 10 guys shows up about midnight and we start this all over again. It's like, I'm going to die in Brazil. I'm not going to survive this. But it was
Uh,
freaking amazing. I have these aha moments every now and then, and one of them was there. I was standing out, or I was actually sitting out in front of the forge at dusk, and there's two cans up in the trees. Looking down over the valley, there's a big pond down below. I've got a cup of coffee. The forge is going. There's guys laughing and cutting up. There's some guys over at the grill cooking dinner, and it's like, man, this doesn't suck at all. This is cool. Uh, we've got a picture of me and Carlo and Daniel and probably some other guys in there, and we've got the Brazilian flag, the U.S. flag, and the Italian flag all hanging up in his shop now.
nice.
Uh, yeah, it was just so cool, and everybody was just amazing. One of the guys, I commented about a knife that he had on his hip, and it was a knife that he makes for a company that he runs. And he let me look at it. And it's like, man, the grip on this is great. I commented about how I like the pattern, everything. He just reached down, took his belt off, took the sheath off, and gave me the knife right there. It's like, okay, that's not what I was trying to do. I mean, very, very generous. A few days later, another guy was forging out a Bowie knife, and really cool, kind of along the lines of a Bagwell type fighter, long, slender, that fighter style Bowie. And I was same thing, man. Your hammer control is great. Your bevels are all forged in. Everything looks good. I love the geometry on this. This is one of my favorite kinds of stuff. Okay, it's yours. Take it home with you. It's like, okay, so I can't compliment people on anything anymore, or I'm not going to be able to get everything home. And
Ugh.
but it was
The
just, it
import tax
was,
is going to get you.
oh my gosh, uh, it was just so much fun. And everybody worries about this language barrier. With modern technology,
I
Google
was going to ask you
Translate,
about this.
yeah, I speak no Portuguese. Bom dia, good day. That's about the extent of it. Cachaça, it's a drink. You kind of got me after that. I'm out. They know a few words in English, but we could sit with Google Translate and figure things out. Or if you're at the forge, you don't have to say a whole lot. Just point and show somebody what to do and follow the lead there. And we're all craftsmen. It was just amazing, an amazing time. Uh,
That was one of you kind of partially answered one of my questions. I was going to ask you the language barrier in the knife making parties. You say in the shop and such, but what about the cultural differences? Out of curiosity, in knife
you
making,
know,
did you see that in the knife making and their techniques versus what we'd find here at home in the States?
yeah, there are very obvious regional differences in how knives are made. Um, if I go to Europe, their knives are much more elegant, much more. I'm going to use the word feminine. I don't mean that in a negative way, but they're very finessed. When you look at an American knife, typically they're more brutish. They're a little blockier, a little bulkier. Um, Nova Petropolis, the knives there, those guys make some of the most impressive Damascus patterns I've ever seen. And that region is kind of known for the Damascus. They've all learned from each other, and so they feed off of the energy of each other. And you can look at a piece of Damascus and go, I can tell you where that came from. I can't tell you exactly which maker made it, but I can tell you it was in this region. And so,
One of the names
yes,
is Claudia Sobral comes to mind.
Sobral is great. Like I said, there's so many guys down there. It's amazing to me that many people live in a small area making world class knives. And one of the things that really stood out to me about Nova Petropolis was where I live in Oklahoma is a little town called Piedmont. I think the population is probably 7 or 8 thousand people, somewhere in there. It's just a small farm town in Oklahoma. You have them in every state. Every state has a rural town like this. And it's the same people here as it is in Nova Petropolis. They just speak a different language. It's a small town. They all know each other. If somebody needs something, you just pick up the phone, call your neighbor. He's going to come over and help you with it. It's the it's it's the what I call good people. You know, um, it's a very different feel from living in a city where everybody tries to separate themselves from everyone else because they're looking for personal space. But out here, we all know each other. They all know each other. Same in Italy. Same in Tier. It's a small pocket of people with like-minded, similar interests, and they feed off of the energy from each other. They learn from each other, and so it's just the language barrier. People worry too much about it. You know, you can work. There's workarounds for that.
And they even got it now. The universal translator. A lot of this tech stuff, I'm pretty sure is made by nerds who watch Star Trek. I mean, remember Star Trek: Next Generation? They walked around with their tablet. What do we have? We have tablets or phones, communicator. Cell phones. Now we have
So,
the Google. I can't remember. There's different companies coming out there. It's a bionic ear.
so I actually got one of those,
Oh, let's dive
and
into that.
it's a very. I got it off of the internet. I think I paid $14 for this device. It works very well if you and I are sitting talking like this. There's about a 3 to 5 second delay, which makes conversations awkward. So if you were to tell me a joke in another language and I sit here for 5 seconds and don't respond while you're sitting there laughing, and then all of a sudden I get the joke, you're finished laughing. Now I'm starting to laugh. Uh, or
Oh, that
it
makes it
doesn't.
even better, I
Oh
think.
yeah, it made for some
Especially our
awkward.
circle.
Well, and like at one point I was testing this, and some of my Italian friends were talking, and you can have it so that it types a transcript on your phone so you can read it also. And so I'm looking at it. They were talking to each other, not realizing that I was translating it. And one of them looked over and realized that I was seeing everything. He's like, no, 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 no. They were talking among themselves, thinking nobody else was understanding. The problem I had with that device, as good as it sounds, at a knife show, it's not a good idea because
Oh, dude. Do tell.
somebody would come up to my table and ask me about a knife on the table. But what the translator would pick up was, can you tell me about? And then the guy at the next table would say, yes, I want a hot dog for lunch. And the guy behind me would say, yeah, you should hear about the place I went last night. And it's picking up bits of all of these conversations. By the time it translates, I have no idea what I'm saying back to this guy. So at the show, it took me about an hour to figure out that this is not going to work.
Oh,
It
well,
it picked up bits and pieces of everybody's
I
conversations.
wonder if the $14 price tag might have been part of it. Maybe spend the extra
If I
money to get a higher quality.
Maybe, but you know how it is at a show when there's so many conversations
Oh
going
yeah,
on. I don't know how it would isolate one particular conversation out of a group, but they're in a one-on-one setting, absolutely worth the money.
nice. Um, God, that'd be funny to get God camera. Oh, I could just
I'm
imagine
sure the
it.
look on my face was they thought the guy from America is just an idiot. But I would stand and stare at them, and then 5 seconds later, I would respond. They didn't realize that I had this translator in my ear. And so I would have to explain to them, you're going to have to bear with me. And most people in Europe can speak at least a little bit of English. So you work around it.
Yes. That's awesome. So in Brazil, you said the food's great, the beat's awesome.
Yeah.
What else is standing out in your trip that just made you step back and just have to find the right words to describe it, I guess. Tell us.
It was just the people. Um, I think everywhere I've been, I've enjoyed everywhere. I haven't been somewhere that I've gone, man, I don't want to go back there. But what I've realized is we have a lot more in common with people around the world than we don't have. Uh, and I talked to you about this the last time we talked about the Wandering Bladesmith. If you sit down to have a meal with someone or to have a drink with someone, it's pretty hard to hate someone after you get to know them.
Yes.
Uh, it's really easy to pass judgment on someone you don't know. I don't know how many times I've heard the French are rude, the Italians are this. There's no way I'd ever go to Brazil. It's too dangerous. Um, but none of these people have ever been to these places. They're going off of what they've heard
Or
or their
seen in movies.
stereotypes. Yeah.
I think a lot of
And
movies have made a lot of stereotypes of all regions around the world. Some might be true, some might not. Some of them are very, very, very
one of my biggest disappointments in Paris, France, I've been to Paris uh,
wee wee.
several times. And I've joked with people I know that live there and said, I've got a problem with Paris. And I said, well, what? I said, all the times I've been here, I have never seen a police chase. Every movie I've ever seen with Paris, there's a cop chase in the movie. I've been here 6 or 7 times and I've never seen a police chase. That's very disappointing.
Describe the look on their face?
Mostly just dumbfounded, like you're an idiot. But it
That's
was funny. The
awesome.
last time I was there, I was sitting on a park bench having lunch with someone and heard a gunshot. And I said, that was a gunshot. And he goes, no, it wasn't. We're in Paris. I was like, I've heard gunshots and I'm pretty sure. So a few minutes later, I hear another gunshot. I said, I'm telling you, that was a gunshot. No, no, no. So about 4 times this happens over the course of 10 or 15 minutes. And finally, he's like, it's not a gunshot. And he pulls out his phone and he starts looking things up. And it's like, oh, okay, that was a gunshot. They're filming a movie on the next street over. And they were shooting blanks. It's like, I told you it was a
Hey,
gunshot.
we play where gunshots go off so much when you're in an area that that's a little
Listen,
odd.
listen, I'm American. I know what a gunshot is. So,
And they
but
all
yeah,
sound the same, whether you're in the hood or out in the country.
that's right. Yep.
Oh,
So
heavens. Um, God, there was a few other things I wanted to
you
ask,
had
but I'm
mentioned
done.
you had mentioned if you wanted. I don't know if you had any other questions about the Wandering Bladesmith. Um, but this year I'll be doing the Scotland show, and then I'm going back to Brazil also, and then that'll probably be all of the travel for this year. Uh,
So you're
which
saying I need to find me a suitcase that I can fit in? You can just put me on and
I'd suggest a duffel bag gives you more room to
oh, there we
move
go.
around.
Body bag?
There you go. Uh, we talked about doing like a YouTube type channel. The other problem with doing the Wandering Bladesmith as a channel is doing only 2, even on a busy year, 3 trips in a year, keeping people's interest without having more consistent content. Um,
And that's kind of where I want to go. I want to tag on with you with my channel, but also, as we've talked before, my idea going around and hitting everybody else's show. And I got thinking more about it. It's like, well, I'm doing the podcast, so go film the episode of American Bladesmith, and then we do the podcast afterwards and tie it all together. Go in, learn a little thing, come to your shop, test your patience with Mr. ADHD here with probably a touch of the rhythm. Or back in the early 90s, they called it the hyperactive, which I think is honestly is just part of the human condition. They just companies want to medicate it because they make money. So
it could be. Well,
you're
this
what?
year, like I said, I'm only doing the 2 overseas shows, and then I've got I think 2 more shows in the fall that are smaller shows. Um, but you did mention something I do want to come
Toby
back
Keith.
to. Yes, that's what I was coming back to. So,
It clicked in.
yeah, I think pretty much everyone knows who Toby Keith was. World famous country and western singer from Norman, Oklahoma, or more Norman area. And Toby was a little bit rough around the edges. He was a oil field worker, just no country boy that made it big in country music. Uh, the way I understand it, one of his band members had a child that came down with cancer and went out to Tennessee, I think it was, and came back. The child was treated and doing better. And he was telling Toby about this Ronald McDonald type house
When
that
I'm
took care of them while they were there. And Toby was, well, what do we have here in Oklahoma that's like that? Well, we didn't have anything. He's like, well, we can fix that. And that's one of the coolest things about uh, to me, if you had the wealth, the means, the resources, is the things you could do with it. Well, Toby saw a need, and so he built the OK Kids Korral, Corral with a K, and that's under the Toby Keith Foundation, TKF. Well, I started donating to this organization. One of my customers actually was buying my knives and donating it, and then I found out what it was for, so I started donating some and got to know the organization, got to donate through them. They kept saying, "Hey, you need to come down and tour the facility. Come check out what we do."
Did you ever get to meet Toby before I get to ask?
And I didn't get to meet him personally. I did get to go to one of the events where he was the MC, but I never got to sit with him personally. He did have one of my knives, one of my big Bowie knives that somebody gave him. I've
Nice.
got a picture of him sitting on in a rocking chair playing with my knife, uh, but I never actually got to meet him personally, which is regrettable because everything I've heard, he was just a great guy, a real person, not a stage persona, you know. But this this organization, they kept saying, "Come down and check it out. Come down, check it out." In my mind, it was a house that they bought and had a few bedrooms that these families could stay in. When I finally went down and saw what he built, I was blown away. It is about a block from Children's Hospital in Oklahoma City. It's 2 or 3 stories tall. It looks like a resort. Each family has a suite with a small kitchenette and individual bedrooms that their entire family can stay there. The only requirement, I think, is they have to live more than 30 or 35 miles away from the hospital. And if they do and they get treated at Children's Hospital, there is zero expense to that family.
John, if you'd pause just one
Yep.
second, hold
Go
on.
ahead.
We got the teenager here. I don't know if
Go
you've
ahead.
heard, I have recently got custody. She's living with dad now. So, yes, daughter.
It's Patreon. We want me to research it out.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I need.
Okay. Thank you. Hashtag
But
dad parent moment, parenting moment. But,
that's the
and I
important stuff right
understand what
there,
you're
man.
talking about these places. They're on a McDonald's house. I lived in one for about 2 weeks before my grandma Rilla came up to visit because my daughter Amelia, who's been gone, how old are you now, child? 16. She's been gone 16 years. We stayed there when she was at Primary Children's Hospital in Salt Lake City. We stayed there, nice place you get your own groceries, you have a kitchen you can go in and
Yes.
cook. The mattress wasn't all that great, but hey, it was a place to stay when you needed to get away from the hospital.
Yeah.
And then my grandma came up and said, well, this is too far from the hospital. There's a couple RV parking spots at the time. Um, and she's like, nope, you're coming home, getting the RV so you can be right outside, which was nice. Be able to go in there. We lived there for about 2 months. So the Ronald
Mm.
McDonald's house is a really great thing. And I'm
Yeah.
pretty
It's
sure it's similar to what
what they do for these families is just eh, one one of the young men that we met had, I think it was 102 stays at the corral. Not 102 nights. It was 102 individual, treatment visits that could be 2 days, it could be a month. I can't even begin to fathom the stress on a family financially, emotionally, physically of trying to deal with paying the bills. How do you work if you're having to be at the hospital all the time and you don't have a choice? You can't say, well, we're not going to go this month. You know, it's your kid's health. And so what they do for these kids is amazing. Well, I've personally been involved with them for several years. The Oklahoma Knife Group, at our show each year, we do a silent auction. All of the money raised, every penny of that, is donated to the OK Kids Korral.
I got a chance to donate that one year, so that was
And
awesome.
man, everything is appreciated. This year, we actually took the auction online. In the
Nice.
last few years, it's
I should
been
have
in
sent something
person
out.
only. Well, last few years, it's been in person only because we didn't know how to set it up. We worked with the foundation this year and did an online auction. that was open to anyone in the U.S. We got some much higher bids. Um, Still, some of the knives went lower than I would like to have seen, but we raised some good money for them. Uh, the Oklahoma Knife Group, our board of directors, all went down to the corral one night. We cooked dinner for all the families that were staying there. I told them we flew a chef in from Italy, Carlo, and we had pasta and some Italian dinner.
Nice.
But just had a good time visiting with the families. And the knife stuff is what we do for fun, but we're a community, and this is a way that we can kind of give back to the people around us, and do something for somebody else.
And as you know, and as somebody has been in that position, I was laid off. 2 weeks later, my daughter drowned. By the grace of God, we got her back for another 7 months. We spent, I think 2 weeks in the ICU with the ups and downs, trying to find a place to sleep. They had little rooms so people parents could sleep in, but that was only temporary because there was other parents there. It was kind of weird at the same time because my mother had two other cousins that had grandchildren at there. One was being born. She had to be transferred there to the labor and delivery of that part because there were some issues with the pregnancy or with the birth at the time. Another grandchild of my mom's cousin got bucked from a horse, head fracture. So it's kind of weird that all of a sudden we're all there standing around and she walks in and there's two of her cousins there going, "What's going on here?" And but and it's you get there, you're hauling ass up to there to the because it's 2.5 hour, 3 hour drive from where I live, 30-minute by helicopter on that day. And you ever went like this, just kind of walked around. That's what it kind of felt like.
Yeah.
And then finding out that, hey, where we're going to stay afterwards, we're going to be here. This is like we're going to be long haul where we're staying, what we're going to eat. Um, and like I said, I was laid off, had unemployment insurance as 200 and I was like almost $300 a week.
That doesn't go very far.
Not very far when you have car payment, insurance, cell phones.
Yeah. The
Um,
practical side of life is it doesn't go away just because you have
and
issues.
this is back in 2009. Facebook just getting started, and there's no GoFundMe thing. Some families started some donation jars around the community. People dropping their change in there. If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have money to eat.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the
We
thing with these families and I don't think I explained exactly what the foundation is for. It's
dive
to
into that.
provide
Let's unpack
it,
that.
it yeah, it's to provide support for the families of children receiving treatment for cancer diagnosis, which is, if that's not horrible enough, you know, firsthand what they're dealing with.
Watching your kids sitting there in that hospital bed, and there's not a fucking thing you can do about. Pardon my French.
It's just
It
yeah,
yeah.
life is it just sucks sometimes, and if our if a group of guys here in Oklahoma making knives can give a little bit of relief to some family, even just for a day, uh, then
A
all this
sandwich,
stuff.
that just that can be able to go in. Hey, you got this. Come in your food free or your voucher.
Yeah,
It would have been like $12, but now it's $4 because you got the voucher.
yeah,
Hospital fee got boring. And then one of the biggest things is, hey, you need to go off, go have dinner, go reset. We got your child. We're in care. If anything happens, we'll notify you. Um, and so and that was hard to do too. But to have a place to stay, knowing that, hey, I ain't got to worry about trying to find a hotel or how we're going to pay for this, and
yeah.
that's available for them. And that's why I like to donate for situations like that. The knife I made, I'm
Yeah.
of course me is like, ooh, I'm going to be real creative and made did that Damascus buoy sandmine
Hmm.
setup, and this, that, and the other, and because hey, I've been there. I know what it's like. Hopefully, it brought I'd have been cool if that brought in $10,000 for it.
Yeah.
That
Well, I've got to give huge, huge thanks to every maker that has donated, but also to everybody that has bid on those items. Um, both sides of it, and part of it's because they're getting a cool knife out of it, but it's supporting those families, and
It means way much more than a cool knife.
yeah,
It's you're again, as a parent who's been in that situation, when people, I don't think I'll ever pay it back in my mind, and that's why
no,
I
and
give.
no, but I think a lot of us think that way. Okay, how am I going to pay you back for? Sometimes you just have to stop and say thank you,
Yep.
and that's it. You know, it's not about paying someone back. Just be a good human, be a good person, treat people right. If you see somebody that needs a hand up, help them out. You know,
Give them a hand up.
yeah,
It cut. I literally, the knife. I'm going to use a knife term. You're cutting out part of that stress of going through that, whether it's your child's in there for cancer treatment or fighting for a life from a drowning accident or a wreck or whatever.
yeah,
With these, when you donate and such like that for either the Toby Keith Foundation or Ronald McDonald's or these other little charities that you might have in your area, you have no idea how much that takes off, especially when you got a younger kid like
yeah,
my boy, he was just young at the time. Daisy was not even born yet. She was still about that big. She was there, but she was probably about that big. But the peace of mind you're able to give this so they can focus on, okay, we need to go sit down with the hospital. They're going to tell us this is how your care. You're not sitting there worried about, God, I got to pay this bill. I got to pay.
right,
Where am I going to sleep? How's you don't you can focus on what and learn the things you need to learn with your child's care and get ready just to bringing her home and that learning hey, all right, so this she had a G tube. We're gonna,
yeah,
we went through the lessons on, hey, in case this happens, this happens, this happened. I actually come home and we had to do a checkup with and take her with the doctor and everything else, and he was looking at the G tube. He'd never seen that type of G tube, and here I hear telling my doctor that I've known and has been my family doctor since I was wee, um, about this. I'm like, wait a second, you're the doc. You're supposed to be knowing about this stuff. And
yeah.
she got sick, and we ended up in the ER. And I was kind of worried that the G tube was not in the right spot. And they took an X-ray and everything else. And well, we were waiting for the X-ray tech, and it's just the X-ray guy reads their X-rays. And I was like, well, can I just look at it because I know what I'm looking for? Oh, really? And I described, and the main guy came in. I was telling him about it and describing on it. I'm thinking, you're the guy who's got all the fancy education, but and it's an immense blessing, and that's why I like to give for stuff like that, especially for kids that's gone through families that's gone through that traumatic incident with a child or
Yeah.
whatever. But to let you
Well,
know, that is extremely for those who donated, to those who have bought. You have no idea the kind of burden you lift off families when you do
yeah.
that.
Well, I'm just glad that I get to be a little bitty part of all that, and we
And
do some other things through our OKG group also. We at our event each year we give away a scholarship. Uh, so anybody that comes to our show can put a raffle ticket in. If you get drawn, you get to pick from a list of knife makers and go take a knife making class from them.
nice.
It's free of charge. There's it's just a door prize, if you will. Uh, but it expands what we do and gives someone else access to uh, the craft of making knives. Um, we do shop tours, and twice a year we'll open up one of our shops, and it's open to the general public. You don't have to be a club member. There's no cost. You just show up. We'll do a couple of sessions in the morning, a couple of sessions in the afternoon, different classes. We'll break for lunch, which we provide the lunch, and then we raffle off. We call it Iron in the Hat. It's donations from places like Jantz, Texas Knife Supply, Emily, um, Iron Dungeon
Emily Cast
Forge.
and Craft.
All of these guys donate items to us, and those are put out. You buy raffle tickets, you put it in the bucket, we draw a name, and you get that item. And that's the money that we make from that is what pays for the food and stuff for that day. Um, we've had guys bring old machinery that they're not using in their shop anymore, materials that some old micarta that some of that old linen micarta Westinghouse stuff I've seen just go for ridiculous prices, and you put $1 raffle ticket in and may walk away with $500 worth of micarta. So but it's a way to get the public involved in what we do. They can come out, see it. I don't say everybody, but a lot of people are intrigued by knife making. The show Forged in Fire, the knife shows that we do, it brings a lot of interest, and people don't have immediate access to that. Well, by coming to the shop tour, you get to see what we do. And we'll set you up. If you want to take a class, I'll give you a list of the people that teach classes. I'll give you a list of makers in your area if you want to get together with them. And if they want you to come by their shop, you can go by and see what they do. That's the way we need to get people involved in this. And that's part of the reason I got involved with OKG to start with. And kind of how I ended up where I'm at was the people that ran it did it for so long, and they were just basically getting tired. They're getting older, they're getting tired, they've been doing it forever. And we've got a group of new makers coming up now that they're the technology generation, and the generation before us was, pencil and paper. And we're kind of in that middle group.
And
And
I'm kind of right there, all pencil paper now, and you got to kind of flex, but
you do, but trying to bridge that gap between doing everything, what program do you use to design your knives? I use a sketch pad, and these guys are all using computers. It's like I wouldn't even know I wouldn't have a clue. If you told me to design a knife using a computer, I'm out.
I'm trying to learn so I can use my plasma cutter. Um, Not working so well because I haven't used it in a while, but I had a thought though. When you get a chance, next time you talk to the folks down there, OK Kids, I would like to get you and one of whoever would want to come on here. Let's do a lack of word terms, a three-way interview here, kind of and talk more about it and see what
That would
That'd
be
be
cool.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're down.
I'm down for it.
All right.
I can talk to anybody about knives and all this stuff more than you want to hear me talk.
No, I never get tired of it, especially kicking back in a hotel drinking some whiskey or a beer with you. I mean, and then looking at everybody's other stuff. That's one thing. It's like I find I never really fit in places until Forge and Fire and opened up a new. I come from my dad's generation of knife makers, the old boys that. A lot of them would share stuff, and a lot of back in the day, there was a lot of guarded secrets.
Oh,
The
yeah.
gateway stuff, which it's nice to see kind of diminishing in the world. But I find my
Yeah.
tribe, better for words, I found the tribe, and it's a wonderful community to be part of. Um, but yeah, I'd be awesome to have them on. It's awesome to see your work with it. It's kind of weird to see pictures of you out there golfing, though.
Well, I don't do the golfing. I,
I swear I seen you swinging a club.
I don't think I've had a golf club in my
Maybe
hands.
maybe it was somebody else that kind of looked like maybe it got a
Well,
doppelganger.
now one of the events they do is a silent auction around a golf tournament. So
Okay.
that maybe what you saw was an advertisement for
Maybe
the golf
that's what I was
tournament.
thinking. It's like Sean with a golf club because I think golfing is about the most boring thing ever.
Well, one of the funny you say that. I actually lettered in golf in junior high, and that was the last time I played a round of golf. Was in the 8th grade, I think it was. So, other than mini golf, I play a
Mini
mean
golf,
game of mini
okay,
golf.
that's fun, but the other stuff, not so much.
Yeah.
Um, well, hell, we've covered a lot of topics tonight. Is there anything that you can think of that you want to? I mean, a weird food item that you tried in the last
Oh
10 years, something that really sticks out besides stealing the pig and not letting me get any down at Belleville. That's weird.
man, that the hogs. So in Italy they have porchetta, which is amazing pork. Brazil, lots and lots of roasted beef. Um, Amazing stuff. Weird food. It's such a subjective thing. I don't know. I
Some
can't
of
think of anything. I know Buddy Thomas. He tried the surströmming, the the fermented fish. I have not tried that. Uh,
I want to go to Ireland and try the sticky shark. So we need to go to Ireland, not Ireland, Iceland. Get it
Iceland.
right. Iceland and try some of the stinky shark.
That would be interesting. I know in Scotland, haggis is what everybody talks about.
I want to try that so bad.
I've had haggis before and I thought it was fine. I didn't see the problem with it. I think where people get the hang up is that it's got organ meats
And we're
and
not used to
rice
eating that
or,
here.
or oats. I think they use oats or
Oats
barley.
and yeah, I've heard of. I think there are a bunch of different ways. Or the
But
blood
like
pudding.
you go down. And yeah, I love that. Um,
Oh, well, blood
had
pudding, yes.
had that in Ireland. In Louisiana, the boudin is made with liver and things like that. A lot of people don't like it. They don't like the texture. They don't like that minerally flavor of the organ meats and stuff.
You're making me hungry.
I'm telling you, man. I'll give you one thing to think about, then I'll stop. But I had some boudin sausage. I needed to use a piece up because it was the spicy version. Nobody else here wanted to eat it, and I decided to make biscuits and gravy. But instead of using pork sausage, I used boudin sausage.
Ooh.
Try it.
All right, Sean, let's go to Louisiana. Come on, let's go. Let's go to the bayou.
There's a Louisiana Custom Knife Show down in Louisiana
Oh,
in the fall.
once I get out of this funk and things get better and get back on top and we're back where we were a couple years ago, that's one of my shows I want. I would just want to go down. Honestly, I don't know if I exhibit. I think I'd just go down there to wander around and visit with people.
Oh man, it
Maybe throw
was.
a few knives in the back just to show off stuff.
Yep.
Maybe get some good constructive criticism. Um, and
Well, it Stephen Prater, I think, is who runs that one. Good show, amazing food. Person could hurt themselves pretty easily down there,
well, there's
and
a
worth
reason
it.
I'm not skinny there, Sean.
That trip was fun because I was able to go down, do the show, enjoyed the Cajun food, and on the way back, spent a couple of days stopping at other people's houses, visiting on the way home. So, these trips, if I drive, it gives me more flexibility than flying, obviously. Um, but man, take advantage of the invitations to stop at someone's shop, even if it's just a 30-minute stop to pop in, say hi, look at how they've got their shop set up, see what they're working on, have a cup of coffee and hit the road again. Um,
And speaking of
Life's
that,
too short.
again, I grew up not around knife making. I grew up what dad had and everything. So I was spoiled. So I always had access to equipment and everything else. And now out and about thinking, oh, heck, you go to other people's shops so that you think, for me, I thought that everybody had their shop set up like the way dad would.
Yeah.
No. Well, how do you do that without a power hammer? Oh, I forged just a little bit, but I rest of it stock removal. Made no sense to me as a kid growing up. Now older, forged and fired. Met y'all from Dustin Rhodes to you to Buddy to J.W. Randall, Jeff Wagner. If I can never get him on this show, Jeff, you got to come on my show. We got to
He doesn't
talk.
sit still long enough.
What's that?
He doesn't sit still long enough.
That's, and I'm surprised as much as I can. And I think that's where I have the issues of when I get tongue tied so bad. My brain's firing so fast. But I'm actually learning as I get older, I guess, to learn to sit still. But there's a lot of other guys who want to get on here and such. But we're getting kind of long on the tooth, like our beards getting gray here. Um, I want to open up as we did last time. Words of wisdom, something you want to share. And then if you
Yeah,
wouldn't mind,
just
close us out with a prayer and
yeah.
we'll close
In
out.
regards to the knife making, just have fun. If it's not fun, don't don't beat yourself up over it. Uh, Back up, slow down, enjoy it. Uh, Ask questions, get to know people, uh, and think about the people more than the process sometimes. So it's not rocket surgery. You're just making knives. None of us are that special. and
Hey,
nobody's
my mommy
unapproachable.
says I was special. Sorry, I had
Well,
to say
you
that.
you might be a little special, but yeah, man, that's it. Just have fun, and not just with the knife making, but with everything. Don't take yourselves too seriously.
Oh God, no, never. And the one thing, it is a very mental health. It can help with a lot of mental health, working through stuff and such on, especially myself
Yeah,
and grinding. When I find myself when I'm grinding, sometimes when I have a problem, I pray. Um,
yeah,
and speaking of that, Sean, will you lead us out with a prayer here tonight? Close it
absolutely,
out?
man. God, we just want to thank you, for the chance to get together and talk about things that we have common interests in, um, to talk about the world around us and realize that we have more in common than we have differences, among everyone. Just be with us all, and everybody out there that needs help with something, just touch us and give us your grace. Amen.
Amen. Awesome, Sean. Hey, appreciate you coming on here. We're definitely let's get with the folks of OK Kids and maybe
Yeah,
get a little bit more on that. Um, Everybody's like, well, "What's your podcast about?" I says, "Well, it's about knife making, but also what we like to do behind the anvil, as
yeah.
such as working with OK Kids, maybe golfing. And I still think you're causing golfing. No, just kidding. Uh, Good food,
But
traveling.
yeah,
Um,
all of the knife makers have personal lives behind the making. So yeah, there's a lot more than just making knives.
And that's what I kind of want to do with this, and also help people, other small businesses, give them a platform to share their little niche
Yeah.
in life. So, Sean, I appreciate it. Hopefully, I get to see you in person, not over this. Um, my goal is to next year to be out to Oklahoma,
Cool.
and maybe a few shows. So, but anyway, let's wrap this
Yeah.
up. I'm gonna do my thing, and then I'll hit the end, and then stay with me real quick after that. Hey, as we say in the shop, stay sharp, America. Don't do anything I would like poke holes in yourself. Be safe. There's only one King, and that's our Lord Jesus Christ. If you ever want to talk about him, you want to reach out, be glad to share the gospel with you. So again, thank you, and God bless you, America, and thanks for joining us for another awesome episode of Behind the Anvil.